Welcome to the Andrew Collette Show. Today we're going to be looking at Metagross for the Pokemon Competitive VGC Doubles Battle format. We're going to take a look at a few different move sets, EV spreads, and even take a look at a rental team at the end. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already for more Pokemon and VGC content. Give me a follow on Twitch, the link to that is in the description below. Give the video a like or dislike, let me know in the comments what you think of Metagross, and let's get right into it. So let's look at what Metagross is made of. It is a Steel Psychic typing, which resists a lot of things. As you can see at the bottom there, it resists normal attacks, flying, rock, steel, grass, psychic, ice, dragon, fairy. That's a lot of good stuff to be resistant to, and you're immune to poison also. You do have a few weaknesses, but if you make a good team around Metagross, you are able to cover that. Metagross does have two abilities, Clear Body and Light Metal. In doubles, you're never ever going to use Light Metal. I don't even know if you'd use it in singles, to be honest, but Clear Body is the way to go. What it does is it makes your stats unable to be lowered. So for example, let's say someone snarls, intimidates you, or tries to lower your speed or whatever stat, your stats cannot be lowered. However, you can still higher your stats, so you still will get the Dynamax boost and such. Great ability. If we take a look at the stats, it does have pretty good stats all around, especially the attack and defense. Look at that. So Metagross can definitely be a bulkier Pokemon. The speed is kind of lacking. It's kind of in the middle as far as popular Pokemon go. So you're going to be relying on your bulk when you are facing faster Pokemon. In the end, Metagross's speed is nothing to write home about. You could do some stuff with Trick Room. You just got to be careful with what your opponent does, but that makes Metagross a flexible Pokemon. Like maybe you do want a Trick Room, but if they do have opponents that are built for Trick Room, then maybe you don't want a Trick Room. So let's look at our first standard set. So this one has Assault Vest. A lot of these actually run Weakness Policy. I put Assault Vest on this one just because the next set is going to be more focused on Weakness Policy. And the biggest benefit about Assault Vest is your special defense stat isn't where your defense stat is. So your special defense bulk will just make Metagross so tanky when you put that Assault Vest on it. I put Meteor Mash on this set because Meteor Mash does have a 20% chance of raising your attack one stage. So since we don't have weakness policy on here, you want to raise your attack somehow. And then we got Stomping Tantrum, Ice Punch for the coverage, and Zen Headbutt for a stab attack. 252 HP in attack with 4 speed. But if you do want different items, this does work very well with the weakness policy set. I've seen some do Life Orb. That's I think weakness policy is definitely far superior on Metagross, especially with the Dynamax format. If you do go weakness policy, I'd probably put Iron Head on in place of Meteor Mash, just because your weakness policy is the way you're planning on raising your attack. And you can have other coverage moves too, like they're not as popular, but Earthquake, Thunder Punch, and Bullet Punch. Thunder Punch especially if you don't have like a Tapu Fini answer on your team. And as far as partners go, Metagross is great on most teams. If you did want to finish some cores, you could finish the Fairy Dragon core. If you do have Tapu Fini on your team, I do not recommend the Dragon partner. Otherwise, great core. And Steel typing very much benefits the Fire, Water, Grass core. So if you already have the Fire, Water, Grass core on your team, slapping a Steel type like Metagross is just going to even strengthen that core when it comes to resisting. And with Series 7, there's a lot more switching going on. The gameplay's a lot slower compared to the past series we had, so having those resistance for those switch-ins is crucial. So let's look at two of Metagross's biggest threats, in my opinion, which are Galarian Moltres and the dark version of Urshifu. Now let's say Moltres gets that annoying weakness policy proc and their max modest special attack, and they still max darkness you. With your Assault Vest, when you're Dynamax, you're gonna live it, which is pretty cool. But if you're not Dynamax, you're going home. But if they're not Dynamax and they haven't got their weakness policy activated, you can live a few hits. Now Urshifu, just with Jolly, max attack, Wicked Blow, as you can see, it has a small chance to one-hit KO you if you're not Dynamaxed. But as you can see with the first calculation, if you are Dynamaxed, you will survive at least one hit, but it has a chance to 2-hit KO you. So that really stinks that an Urshifu, not even Dynamax, can take you out in 2 hits. So just something to be careful about, especially if you've already been hit. As far as this set goes offensively, now the attack EVs were just put into the max, so there's not anything specifically it goes for, but just to talk about two popular Pokemon, Tapu Fini, a max Steelspike, it still takes 2 hits to KO it. But look, a simple Ice Punch, non-Dynamax versus non-Dynamax Landorus, you're gonna one-hit KO that thing for sure. So Metagross just really hits hard, especially when you have those super effective attacks. You can one-hit KO a lot of things, but at least you are strong enough to at least 2-hit KO even the toughest opponents like Tapu Fini. Let's look at this weakness policy set. So moveset's kind of similar. I did replace Meteor Mash with Iron Head, and I put Protect on there in place of the Psychic attack, just because the Psychic attack doesn't have as much coverage. You could put Assault Vest on this if you want the special bulk, but this one I built specifically for weakness policy. We are maxed out in HP. Now what I did with the attack stat is I went until we got to our second attack bump just to maximize our EV spreads. The defense investment will help us survive 2 Urshifu Wicked Blows. And then I put a little speed in there because a lot of Metagrosses run max HP, max attack, and then they just put the 4 EVs somewhere. So if they put the 4 EVs in speed, this 12 speed investment investment will have you outspeed most non-invested Metagrosses. And then I dumped the rest into special defense for bulk. I really think with a weakness policy, it's not mandatory, but I think having the ability to self-activate your weakness policy is crucial. These Pokemon on the right can use Brutal Swing or Bulldoze. All of them but Dusclops are faster than Metagross, so you can attack your Metagross before Metagross attacks, so that way your Metagross is full on charged up to attack with its hardest. I think the Bulldoze strategy is specifically pretty good, so if you got Landorus or Spectrier, you can Bulldoze, and Metagross, your stats won't go down with Clear Body. So Spectrier, for example, is a fast base 130 Pokemon. You can slow down your opponents. Metagross won't get slowed down, and then you could possibly outspeed them depending on your speed investment. So to talk about that a little, if you did want more speed on Metagross, because the main thing Metagross is trying to outspeed are other Metagrosses, because the 70 speed tier is not super competitive. Like when you get up to the 80 or 85, it takes a lot of speed investment to put in that, but I don't know how much you want to take out of bulk. But if you did want to put more speed in, I would take away special defense, and then if you wanted even more speed in there, you could take out some HP. I wouldn't go lower than 220 HP though, because that 220 HP mark is what helps us survive 2 hits from Urshifu, so that way it takes us 3 hits from them to take us out. Dusclops is an interesting pick because it's not faster than Metagross, but if you have like a Trick Room option, then maybe you want Trick Room first, then you hit Metagross with the Bulldoze. Alright, let's talk about those 2 main threats again. Like I said, with this EV spread, it will take Urshifu 3 Wicked Blows to take out your Dynamax Metagross. That's so comforting to know, because nothing sucks more than having to get 2 hit by a regular non-Dynamax Mon. And let's say you're not even Dynamax, it's going to take 2 hits to KO you, so you know you'll definitely survive 1. Now that is considering the more popular set of Jolly Max Speed Urshifu, so if it's Adamant or Choice Band, you could be taken out. And then we look at Moltres. We're not as special defensive bulky as we were with the previous set. A weakness policy Moltres is probably going to take you out if they are fully invested into special attack. Even if they're not fully invested into special attack, they're going to have a high chance of taking you out anyways, even when you're Dynamax. But if they don't have a weakness policy proc and you are just both non-Dynamax, you can take 1 hit from it. So Moltres is definitely something to be aware of in this set. As far as offensively goes, I just want to show you Glastrier, just because if Metagross can do a lot of damage to Glastrier, you know a weakness policy +2 Metagross is going to do a lot of damage to any Pokemon. So let's say you're both Dynamax with the EV spread I have into the attack. You have about almost a 50% chance to take it out in 1 hit. That's a Dynamax Glastrier. That's crazy. Like, you just need someone to chip that thing a little, and then Metagross will for sure take it out. In case you're wondering if you put a full investment into attack for Metagross, I don't think it's worth it, just because like you're still not going to for sure 1-hit KO it. Yeah, your chances are higher, but I think having that bulk in the end is good to know. Let's say you didn't have any bulk and you just had the classic 252 and Glastrier is going to hit you first and they already got their weakness policy up. You're going to survive a max Quake from them. So that's good to know that you can take a hit from Glastrier. So here's a sample team from Maluka VGC on Twitter. Maluka is a very good player. In the first Players Cup this year, they got 2nd place overall, so you can tell they're pretty good. In the 2nd Players Cup, they're already knocked out, but they came close. They went 7-2, so you have very respectable record in the 2nd Players Cup. So this is a dependable Metagross team you can count on. As you can see, their Metagross is a little different with Bullet Punch instead of a coverage move. If you're curious about the spread, I looked at stats and then found out its EV spreads. So here you go. It's got the same attack EV spread I put into my weakness policy set. The same reasoning where they got to the 2nd attack bump to make the most use of their EVs. Looks like they put even a little more speed than I did. So it looks like they just want to make sure they outspeed Metagrosses that just creep a little. And then it looks like they just wanted to be overall bulky, so they invested in some defense and special defense. I'm not sure exactly what it can withstand, but I think it's just there for overall bulk. I'll put the rental code in the description below along with Maluka VGC's Twitter, and I'll also put a PokePaste of all 3 Metagross sets we went over today. That concludes it for Metagross today. Once again, let me know in the comments what you think of Metagross. What kind of Metagrosses you've seen running around? Especially that speed investment is kind of crucial because you're mainly trying to go after most Metagrosses, but do you prefer putting in more speed? I've even seen some put max speed Jolly, but then they lose a lot of bulk in the end for that. Anyway, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Give me a follow on Twitch in the description below. Leave a like or dislike. I'll play some more Crown Tundra guides right here, and you all have a good one. Thanks.